I guess I'll start. I'll introduce myself. My name is Edward Ilyasov. I went to Queens College. I went to Cardozo High School for high school. Then I went to Queens College. I studied math. I was thinking of going for pharmacy first. My dad's like, Eddie, there's a free application. Go for St. John's Pharmacy. It's a 6-year program. Back then it was 6 years. And It was enticing, because when you're poor, being guaranteed almost $100,000 when you graduate is a nice thing, right? Like, who doesn't want money when they graduate, right? It's when we're poor, it's like when we're sick. When you're sick, all you think about is getting healthy, and when you're poor, all you think about is making money. But once you're healthy, you think about doing other things, going on vacation, doing things that are fun. Once you have money, you're like, wait, money isn't the only thing about, like, it's not the one goal of life is not to be healthy. The one goal of life is not to be wealthy, right? There's other goals, to do things, to have uh, a passion that you engage with. So I ended up choosing math because I enjoyed it, and graduated Queens College in 3 years. There was no honors, just straight to Queens College. Got into Columbia University um, for a master's in financial engineering program. I was one of 5 Americans in the program, one of 2 New Yorkers, and I was like one of 3 white people. Everyone was Asian or French or Indian. Um, and Yeah, it was a. I'd say that the thing that separates an Ivy League education, and the reason why I'm mentioning Ivy League is because this is all about Ivy Leagues. Everyone around me went to an Ivy League, so she went to Columbia College, which Barnard, which is a very prestigious. It's the female all female school of Columbia. She'll get into that, of course. He went to UPenn, which is another Ivy League, for dental school, and he went to Harvard, which obviously everyone knows. There's different ways of getting into an Ivy League, but I got in for financial engineering. And The one thing that I would say that separates an Ivy education compared to a non-Ivy education is the caliber of people you surround yourself with. So when we go to high school, we have friends that we grow up in our neighborhood, right? Just random selection. Maybe if you went to like Townsend Harris, you have slightly smarter people, right, that are in your class. But when you go to an Ivy, you're surrounded by the smartest and the most well-connected people all in one place. Every single person you're surrounded with is the most hardworking, diligent, creative, right, person, all in one place. And when you have that type of people, those type of people surrounding you, it, you're a combination. What's that expression? You're the combination of the 5 people you surround yourself by. Yeah. So if you're surrounded by brilliant people, it's inevitable that you're gonna be at least some level next to them, right? So I don't know if that's a good intro. Someone wanna?
I agree. And I'll pass it off to Michael and Rachel. But I agree with Eddie. I went to North Shore Hebrew Academy High School for high school. Then for college, I went to SUNY Binghamton, which for me at the time was a big deal because it was still a good school. I was never the best student, but it was still good enough, and I was still able to go away and enjoy myself. But I was a big fish there, and then what they say, it's true what Eddie was saying. And then I went to Penn for dental school. I wanted to differentiate myself. Most people go to NYU for dental school, and that's fine, but I kind of wanted to be different. And at Penn, I felt like a very small fish. The whole big fish to small pond is so true. Like Eddie was saying, everybody there is extremely hardworking or smart or some combination of the two. And it's a little intimidating at first, but I think you realize that we're all human and that it's okay. And I think it's you kind of like Eddie, you need to have to want to go there, but it doesn't define you. Like you're going to an Ivy League, it's a label. You have to think of it as a label, and yeah, it's a label that we value. But I've met plenty of people that didn't go to Ivy Leagues that are just successful and just as smart and just as educated. So there's a correlation between going to an Ivy League school and being educated, highly educated and highly motivated, but not necessarily always like that. I'll give it to Michael. Tell me about your journey and what do you think?
Hello everyone. My name is Michael. I just finished my first year at Harvard, pursuing an undergraduate degree. Hopefully, I'll be majoring in government or political science. Um, I went to high school in Townsend Harris, and I think for me, I guess college represents a place where I guess two things: the freedom, sort of like just the freedom of being not just like outside the grasp of your parents, but also like freedom to be curious. And there's no bounds to that. So I obviously at college, place to get wealthy, place to make connections, but on a personal level, it's a place to just let your curiosities roam free. And I think that's what any school you go to, no matter the name, no matter the prestige, no matter the tier, as long as you're curious and make the most of it, which I'm trying to do. And any person, whether you're in high school too, same thing. If you're curious, you'll make the most of the experience. Hoping to talk to you guys about like my journey there, some of the things I did, sort of how do you get creative with your application. I have a lot to share, and also what it's like. Obviously, it's been a first year, so I don't have sort of the 4 year experience at the college yet, but I'll share what I can, and I think that's all I'll share for now, and send it over to Rachel.
Hey, hi guys, I'm Rachel. I also grew up in Queens, and I went to Russell Sage Middle School. Then I went to LaGuardia High School. That was really nice because I got to like practice my art every day, and there were a lot of people with like different art majors that I got to be inspired from. And I would say that's the first time that I kind of like met so many diverse people from New York. Because growing up in Queens, like you see, obviously it's a diverse place, but I was very much in the Baharian community. And then I went to Macaulay Honors at Brooklyn College, and that was also a great experience. There was a lot of diversity there, and it was great to be in an honors program because you're still with very highly motivated people. But like despite the fact that I was having a good experience, I initially applied to Barnard College, and they waitlisted me at first and eventually rejected me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to transfer because it was my dream school. So that's what I did, and it ended up working out. So I went to Brooklyn College, Macaulay for 1.5 years. I transferred my spring of my second year there. And so I spent 2.5 years at Barnard. And there was a lot of anxiety, obviously, coming in, going to an Ivy League. It is true that there's like a very highly motivated, smart people, as Eddie was saying. And that was, I would say, the biggest difference. It was not the difference in education. That was pretty much the same because Brooklyn College is known, especially as a, like for pre-meds, which I am. Those classes are very rigorous at Brooklyn College because they're connected to SUNY Downstate. Like they really have to, prepare the students for the med school, and they have a good rep of like being rigorous. So the classes were pretty similar. I would say that the biggest difference was the people and the experience that you would get at that school because of that, and also the support that you would get from professors. I would say they're more open to help you there. Maybe like people speculate why. I think maybe it's because maybe they get paid more or they're treated better, but I noticed there's more opportunities to get support from your professors and the TAs and stuff. So yeah, I can definitely speak to more about my experience there and like how I transferred, like what I wrote about, or my extracurriculars were. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist. Yeah.
Maybe I think another thing we can all talk about is maybe something that stuck out in our applications, something that we feel stuck out. So, like there's millions of people that have, maybe not millions, but hundreds of thousands of people that apply to Ivies every year. So the question is, what makes people get in, and what makes people just, not get accepted. I think there's right now maybe between a 5 and 10% acceptance rate, depending on the school. So there's 8 Ivy League colleges, and there's 2 colleges that are basically Ivy League, but aren't. So there's Stanford, which isn't. It's in California, but it's just as good, and if not better in some fields. And there's also MIT, which is also like top tier college, but it's not an Ivy League. Otherwise, there's Harvard, there's Columbia, there's UPenn, Dartmouth, Cornell Brown, and Princeton and Yale.
It was a sports league. The reason why they're all in the Northeast is the Ivy League was a sports league, and that's how it moved more. But yeah, that's basically why it's only concentrated in schools in the Northeast.
Yeah. So one thing that I think that guys, if you want to come, there's some seats over here. There's 2 seats. I was playing in my soccer team, but like that's one thing. If you're trying to apply for Ivy League, you have to show that you're you have many different multifaceted, many different interests, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Whether it's an art side, a sporty side, right? And this starts obviously from youth. It doesn't really start in 10th grade, right? People have to have initiative, right? I was doing, I was teaching in art classes while I was in high school. I was playing soccer. My math GPA was crazy high. I had a math major and I was getting 4.0s basically every semester. Took the GREs for grad school and I got like 98th percentile for my math section, which was very important for getting into Columbia. But also, when I wrote my essay, I did it from a very genuine perspective. Now everyone has ChatGPT, so no one is doing anything. No one is doing their own thinking.
ChatGPT is a tool. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if you don't have your thoughts and ideas of what you want to include, the tool cannot be used.
Yeah. So the thing is, what I've noticed that a lot of kids are using it to think for them. I've noticed even my little brother, he uses it a lot, a little bit too much. But for example, I went to Queens College for undergrad and Columbia for grad school. Yeah. So one thing that I did was I wrote about how I liked shoveling snow for my essay, and how for Columbia. I talked about how I liked making money as a kid. I was negotiating, that I had an aunt that gave me chocolate, and I would sell it to my neighbors, to my classmates. And when I came back with $20, I was so excited. I told my aunt, Zina, I made $20 from selling all your chocolates. She's like, "Я потратил $30 на этот коробок." So it was a really funny story. But I said, because of that, I am really interested in math, business, and I think this program is the perfect thing. So the combination of having very high grades, a very interesting, unique story, a sense of humor, and having very good recommendations.
Yeah.
So you have to build relationships with your teachers. Try to take multiple classes with the same teachers over and over again. In college, you take classes with teachers. You can repeat a teacher for different classes.
I personally think what helped me in my application was, as Eddie said, like I think you need something that shows that you're unique. And for me, and also like genuine, for me it was art. Like I started making art as a little kid and like just kept cultivating that. And so I submitted an art portfolio, which you can do for other art talents, like not just like drawing or painting. But so I would really recommend to do that if you have a talent. And another thing is trying to do like activities related to it. So for me, I did art curation like for my gallery in high school, and that was really fun. And eventually, once I got into college, that was one of the first things I did. I joined the art club as a treasurer, and I started to help them make events around campus. And I also curated an art show and eventually became the president of the club. So I think that like the continuation might have helped me transfer as well. And also the essays, like what I wrote in the essays, I also connected it to art a lot. And I talked about, sorry, I'm trying to remember what else I talked about, but it was mainly art and just how much I loved Barnard, and also like why I wanted to transfer. So for me, it's a little bit different. So I think maybe Michael could give you a good answer.